This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WPSL. However, we are the ones who encourage you to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors. Because Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce now presents Joanne's World of Nutrition with Joanne Seeger.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone's having an incredible morning. Hey, I know I have some newbies listening this morning. I got the heads up. So shout out to Mary, Marcia. Good morning, Davelyn. I hope all you girls are having a great morning. And like I mentioned on the spot, it's a live call-in show, so 340-1590 for any questions that you might have. Now, this morning, we will be skipping the breath work.
Right, because you got a guest.
Right, but not just any guest.
Right.
So for this guest, we need every second possible to get the conversation started. So for all the regular listeners, I appreciate you spending some time with us. Please start your breath work. For the newbies, just take some nice deep breaths in and out through your nose as you're listening to really get the most out of your body. And without further ado, let's say good morning to our guest today, Burt. Good morning, Burt.
Hi, good morning, Joanne.
I love how you always giggle like I do when you say hi. It's awesome. So, Burt, last time you came on just a couple weeks back, it was amazing, intense. You taught us a lot of stuff, so I had to have you right back on. But can you tell all these newbies that I have listening, which I'm so thrilled about, can you tell them a little bit about yourself so they can get caught up?
Oh, certainly. I have been working as a clinical nutritionist for about 18 years now. I've been involved with the natural food and natural supplement business since 1980. But for the last 18 years, I've had a chance to see nutritional clients and doctors' patients that are referred to me. And what we've done is we've learned how to help the body get balanced. I use some equipment that's really, really ahead of its time. It's called biomeridian equipment. And the whole idea is that once the body is balanced, then it's able to do some pretty miraculous things.
And you practice out of California, correct?
Yep, in Southern California, I'm with 10 children, and we now have 12 grandchildren. And for many years I was traveling the whole country. I haven't done much traveling in the past couple of years, but been to 45 states and have done live seminars. Sometimes we have a two-hour seminar, and people just wanted to keep going. We go 6 or 7 hours, just question and answer. So
I know. Isn't it awesome, though? It just really gets you hyped up, doesn't it? I love it.
Yeah, it does. But you were mentioning, I kind of giggle when you say hi to me in the program. You just have this tremendous energy on your program. It's such positive energy, Joanne. I just love being on with you.
Thank you, Burt. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm trying to be the light right now, right? Got to be the light. Oh, well, I'm so thrilled. So last discussion was pretty serious. We were really talking, you were talking about, acidosis and the COVID connection. But this show, I want to really talk about like the post-viral syndrome, like after COVID. I've been dealing with so many clients, in my coaching that are dealing with hair loss, serious fatigue, not occasional, daily fatigue, just really neuropathy, just weird things happening with their body. So I thought you were the guy to ask, because I know since my COVID, I've been taking the super circulation. And so I just was hoping you could really tell everyone what you taught me about like super circulation, the silica, just all these things that I'm using for post-viral syndrome.
Absolutely. What's interesting is that, the destruction that's left inside the body after a person has the virus, or sometimes even if they haven't had the virus but they've had the vaccine, is that I have a good friend who has a health food store and does radio shows down in Alabama. And just recently, he caught this latest cold or flu that some people are saying is tied interrelated to COVID. And he hasn't been ill in 10 years, but it just really knocked him down for about 20 days. So he went and saw the doctor at the hospital, and he was asking a question. He said, do you think that, first of all, he says, I don't need a COVID test, but I would like to know what's going on. So they did a blood test, and they said, you have a viral overload. You've got 3 different viruses in your blood right now, and that's why you're so fatigued and where it's just really bringing you down. So part of what was happening is he had this feeling. He said, well, doctor, he goes, are the viruses attacking the mitochondria inside of each of my cells? The doctor just stopped and he goes, you're the only person who's ever even asked me about the mitochondria. And he stopped for a minute. He goes, yeah. He says, the virus has been attacking people's mitochondria. So you can see how that would lead to a loss of smell, how that would lead to problems with the hair follicles, so that basically they stop producing strands of hair. And so when the hair becomes really, really weak, which is what happens when your body it stores extra silica. So there's an essential trace mineral that protects the cells, the mitochondria. It helps get heavy chemicals and heavy toxins, heavy metals out of the body. And it's called silica. Now, you don't need a lot of it, but silica comes from sand. It's pulled up into the roots of plants. So you get it in vegetables and fruits and all of these things. So what happens is that your body stores extra emergency silica in the hair, whether it's on the arms or the eyelashes or the eyebrows or on your head or any place in your body. It stores extra emergency silica in these strands of hair, which if you look at a microscopic level, they kind of look like straws, and they're filled with silica in the middle. It's kind of like when we were growing up and they had those pixie sticks where it was the different flavored powder inside of a straw. You'd bite off the end of the wax straw.
Not that I ever touched those, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway, that's what each strand of hair is like, and it's filled with silica. So what happens is when people have hair loss after having COVID, is because the body has been pulling in all of its emergency supplies. It's like saying, all points bulletin, I need all the silica I can. As it pulls it out of the hair, the strand of hair becomes hollow. It's not falling out of the head as much as it's breaking off at the scalp level. Does this make sense?
It totally makes sense to me. Unfortunately, I've seen it firsthand.
Well, it's just like women that have long hair and they have split ends, which means that the end of the hair already has lost its silica. Why? Because it's like a straw. So you have the follicle just below the surface of the skin that's like a mouth, and the hair is like a straw. So it's like you taking a smoothie or your protein shake with a straw. As you, suck the smoothie through your straw, eventually when the glass is empty, what happens with the straw? That it becomes hollow at the ends as the smoothie moves towards your mouth. So that's why women end up with split ends, and they end up trimming the ends of their hair because the silica is gone. So what happens when it gets completely gone with those strands, then a person loses it. So as far as a dietary supplement that can really help you, the super silica helps restore this lost silica. Why is it lost? Because the body is pulling it in to try to help protect the cells and especially protect the mitochondria, which is being attacked.
Okay, and I love because the silica in a liquid bottle, it's so easy to follow those drops, and I do it like you always suggest, in a glass bottle first, and then I put the water on top of it, and I've definitely increased, since I noticed some signs of post-viral syndrome, and it's definitely working, Burt. I mean, it's like stop the hair loss. And definitely, like this morning I looked and I have lots of new, really healthy growth. So I am thrilled that that product was available to me. And so Can I ask you what would be for, us postmenopausal women that are already worried about hair loss, what would be the max dosage that we could use? So like, before I was just doing like the one dose and then doing cell power all day long, but now I'm doing 3 times a day. Is that okay? Or
Yeah, to really see results, you want to do 4 servings a day. So each serving means that in a glass or water bottle of at least 16 ounces of purified or distilled water, on the bottle it tells you that a serving is 12 drops. So, you kind of shake up the bottle gently, you take off the cap, and you're counting these drops. It's kind of a squeeze bottle. You count the drops into the water. So that's 1 serving. So 4 servings is where people start to really, really see a big difference. Although, with 2 or 3 servings, you can see something. The maximum, there really is no maximum on silica, except that each person is limited just by how much water they can drink. Now, as far as super silica, we have ophthalmologists that are calling in, and they're using it with their patients that have a glaucoma, because that's a severe silica deficiency in the body causes the pressure in the eye to increase. So typically they'll try to move towards surgery or something. But for the patients that say, no, I refuse to do the eye surgery to bring down the pressure, they found that if you get enough silica back in the body, and in that case, instead of 4 servings a day, the doctors are working with them and they get them up to 6 or 7 or 8 servings a day. But at 8 servings a day, you would need to be drinking a gallon of water.
which you
is a good
should
thing
anyways, right?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody should anyway.
Right.
But sometimes they have to go as much as a gallon and a quarter, a gallon and a half with the glaucoma patients. But for hair loss, you'll start to notice good things happening at 3 servings like you're doing. At 4 servings, it's really kind of amazing because your body is still using the silica to help get heavy chemicals that we're all exposed to out of our system, and to push the aluminum out and to block the aluminum from coming back into the brain and into the body. Silica has the ability to help the body get rid of lead. It'll even help the body start to get rid of mercury, although, you're going to have to do other things later for the mercury. So silica is all about toxins. So the more pollution we're exposed to, the more toxins in our environment, the more silica a person needs to have. And you can get it through your food, but if you've already are super deficient, there's no way to do it. I mean, although you can get plenty of silica in brown rice and in raw cabbage, you'd have to eat 10, 20 pounds of raw cabbage a day, and nobody I know can even eat a half a pound of raw cabbage. They think they can, but they can't.
Oh,
so
no,
the super
definitely
silica,
not.
So super silica helps it get back into the body, and compared to silica in capsules or tablets, like from horsetail or bamboo or whatever, for that type, super silica is 30 to 60 times more absorbable than that. It's 10 times more absorbable than any other brand of liquid silica. And it's because the particles are just as tiny as other good brands of silica, but each one has a slight positive electrical charge. Now, because opposites attract, that when you have a slight positive electromagnetic charge, it means that the inside of the cell, in order to be alive, has to have a slightly negative charge. So that means when the silica starts going through your bloodstream and through your lymphatic stream, it's actually being pulled magnetically right inside the cell. So you're not just getting a little bit that happens to get into the cell. It's that the cell's pulling it in like a tractor beam. I mean, it's this magnetic pull.
I love that visual. Just, it's like, please, I'm hungry, feed me, come. But Burt, so you mentioned like the hair loss and filling up that shaft and giving it all that good silica that it really demands to have healthy, thick hair, and then the eyes with the glaucoma. But where else in the body is our silica?
It's stored in the skin also, but that's why a lot of times people say, oh, my skin just doesn't look so good, and you're putting in creams and lotions and everything else, but that doesn't really solve the problem. But we store the emergency supplies just in the hair. But it's interesting as to where, when our bodies were designed and created, where the extra hair is placed. Because we use silica in the eyes for vision, it's out of all of the cells in the human body, the cells that have the highest percentage of silica, which is still low, but the highest concentration of silica are in the macula cells, which are in the center of the retina that cover up the optic nerve. So what happens is that where do we have extra hair? It's not just on our head. It's in the eyebrows. It's in the eyelashes. So for people who are saying, well, my eyelashes are falling out, my eyebrow hairs are falling out, it's because, remember, if they're not falling out, they're breaking off because your body's doing what? It's sucking the silica out of those hairs to take it directly to the eye.
Right. And the eye is a direct connection to the brain. So to me, you've got to nourish that eye. You got to take care of those things.
and it's also to protect the body. Now, this is probably not a popular topic in the United States, but it used to be until 1918 there were no women in the United States that shaved under their arms. Okay, nobody was taking a razor blade under the arm to get rid of the hair, because the hair for both men and women is in the underarm area because of the silica that is stored there helps protect against breast cancer. So what happens is if you look at the history of breast cancer in the United States, there really wasn't any until women started removing all of the silica, like every other day or whatever, or at least once a week. They're removing all the silica that was there to protect all of that sensitive tissue. So your body puts that, in extra hair in the groin area, under the arms, just everywhere, because it's so much extra silica that's available. Because if your body has to borrow silica from the skin, then you end up with damaged skin or skin that's thin and can rupture or end up with little tiny micro cuts. But with the hair, all it does is just take those straws full of silica and suck it right in to the bloodstream and then move it to where it needs to be.
Okay, and I don't know if I'm ready for that step. I worship your words, but I don't know that. I'm sure my husband's like, yeah, do it, honey, but I don't know. I don't think I'm ready. But I definitely agree with you. It makes so much sense. I mean, why else would it have been there in the first place, right? So it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I'll warm up to it eventually, maybe when I'm 80. But
the only part of the country where they go, oh yes, I agree, is where they're already doing it. In southern Indiana, you just don't find any women that shave their arms in southern Indiana. It's just a thing. So as I travel the whole country talking about this, they go, oh yeah. But you're right.
Wow.
People aren't really ready for that. But it's really, how did it end up in 1918 that people started doing that? It was the fact that they had so many men from the U.S. that went over in the Army to fight in World War I, and were exposed to French women over there that shaved under their arms, and when they came back, they were saying, "Oh, I really like that," and so the wives are like, "Oh, okay, we'll start doing that because you really like these French women."
Oh, jeez. All right.
I know.
I don't really like that story, but okay.
It is. It's exactly what it started to happen. Is that we can do that too. We can be like these other people, but it's interesting that sometimes men start to do that, but. As far as breast cancer, men also get breast cancer. It's in the tissue. They don't have very much breast tissue, but men, when they get breast cancer, it's about 20 times more fatal than female breast cancer, because most men already have that extra silica there to protect them. So it's so rare. But when a person does get it, it's always kind of a shock to the man, because how do you tell everybody else and all your buddies that you have breast cancer?
Right.
But it's because, it's just silica's protective. So it's all over. It's the same thing to protect against uterine cancer or prostate cancer, any of these types of things. The body has that storage of silica. But, if it can't get all the silica it needs in a case of an emergency from hair, I always feel really badly for like Bruce Willis, because what happens is that if he ends up getting a brain tumor or something, there's not going to be anything close to the tumor to help fight against it, because a person that shaves their head.
Right.
But what happens is that your body will eventually start borrowing silica from the teeth and the gums and the bones, and by the time it's borrowing silica from the macula of the eye, that means you really are pretty empty. That's -11 on the silica deficiency scale. So if you're at 0, that means you have no deficiency. You have all the silica that you're supposed to have. Very few people are in that condition.
I was going to say, no one I've met is 0. Probably you, but that's it. Burt, a lot of listeners, I want to remind them what we're speaking about right now. So Positive Power Nutrition Super Silica, it is a liquid and a spray. And we do have it at Nutrition World, or you can order it online. But it's very, very popular product, very affordable, easy to use. But Burt, even though you and I just favor glass and we really talk up glass, there's many of our listeners, I'm sure, that use plastic water bottles. So is that something where they can just take a tiny swig off the top and put the drops in, or is there any issue with that?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. What you do is if you have an empty glass and you just put your 12 drops in the bottom of the glass and then fill it up with your distilled or purified, because as you're filling it, you actually end up with more electrical energy if you do it that way as it mixes. But you can just take a plastic water bottle, take one swig, just like you said, put the drops in, put the cap back on, and kind of gently shake it, just so that it moves through the whole thing and starts this process. And then, you can... But don't refill those little plastic water bottles, the little crushable ones that people buy. Don't refill them. They used to have on every label, and not every brand does, but it'll say right on it, don't refill. This is a single use.
Yes.
It may be safe the first time, but if you put more water in it the second time, it becomes very toxic.
Yeah, I had a friend yesterday that did exactly that, and she's using really great water to put into her cheap water bottle because she likes how it holds, like how she can hold it with the indentation in the middle. And I just looked at her and I said, I've known you 18 years. I think I'm ready to kill you right now. So I'm like, why would you take this beautiful, expensive, great water and pour it into that bottle? But so she got the point. So I don't think she'll ever do that again. But yeah, so if you're listening and you really feel that plastic is the way that you have to use your water, then please don't reuse it. And, you can definitely add the silica drops to it with a little quick mixing. Yeah, because when you got to do a gallon a day, you just got to do what you got to do, right, Burt? You got to get it in there.
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
And again, if it's in plastic and that's what you're constantly doing, you may have to add more than 12 drops, because what happens is that whatever you put the super silica or the cell power drops into, the first thing it does is it uses all that electrical energy to try to clean up or purify the water.
Oh, geez. I put 40 drops in a plastic bottle then.
Well, it just depends on what kind of plastic bottle. I mean, for a long time, people would say, they would buy at the store these more expensive plastic water bottles that are made out of polycarbonate. Sometimes it has a little bit of a blue tint to the plastic. And it's very, very stable and safe plastic for 6 months. But as soon as you've had water in it and you've been using it more than 6 months, it goes from being one of the safest plastics to probably the most dangerous plastic on the planet. It'll just kill you. It's just like
that's the blue shaded kind.
It's the kind that when they deliver water to your home, that if water delivery in the 5-gallon things, they used to do it in glass, but everybody got rid of the glass and they went to this polycarbonate, and so now it all comes in these blue plastic things. And if they've been used longer than 6 months, which I'm sure all of them have, it just ends up being one of the most deadly plastics that gets into the water.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, here in Florida, I see those everywhere, and then people get them delivered, and they keep them outside or in their garage in this horrible Florida heat. Yeah, we do the glass 5 gallons, and it gives me a little bit of more peace of mind. But they're, so if any listeners want to know how to get 5-gallon glass water delivery, just call the store, 464-3598. We'll hook you up. It's not as expensive as you might think, just a little bit more than the plastic, and definitely well worth it. Okay, so Burt, you definitely covered super silica well, and I'm definitely going to go up to 4 servings a day. I'm absolutely loving it. And I do the spray as well. So I do the spray after showering.
And we started talking about, the post-COVID, how do you take care of the problems that you have from this terrible virus. And we're getting calls into our office from all over the country where people have just said the same thing you have, that by starting to take the super silica in their drinking water, as well as spraying it on their skin, but taking in their drinking water, that it really is helping with this post-virus hair loss. It's an amazing thing.
Right.
So.
Now, some people might say, well, I didn't have the virus, but I still have hair loss from either pregnancy, menopause, or blah, blah, blah. Is still would help, right?
Absolutely. I mean, so much of what the hair loss after pregnancy, after the baby's born, has to do again about the change in toxin levels in the body. So I mean, that's a long discussion, so we won't go into that. But yeah,
another show.
For all those reasons, I mean, there's just once a person knows, I just figure if you know, yes, you still have to take action. You know, knowledge doesn't do anything for you by itself. You still have to apply it and do something. But still, if a person knows about something and they think about it often enough, you know, eventually you get to the point where you say, okay, today I'm taking action. And that's when good things start to happen, is when you actually apply what you've learned.
Definitely. Oh, I so understand that philosophy. So, Burt, I have definitely been taking the super circulation since last month's show. Actually, I think it's a couple months ago since I've been taking it. And I feel incredible. Like I really do feel like my circulation's improving, and I didn't have any issues to really judge, but I just feel really good circulation now. But my husband's taking it too, and he gets a flush from it where I don't. So I wanted to see if you could touch on what's super circulation, because there's so many amazing, like, I was going over venous deficiency. Am I saying it right, Burt? Venous deficiency. Venus, yeah, V-E-N.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the ingredients that you use, a lot of supplements that you use for that are in your super circulation. And then if you look at neuropathy supplements for neuropathy, a lot of your ingredients are in your formula too. So I mean, you touched on everything in this formula. So I have Matthew taking it for he has a little bit of neuropathy, and he flushes really strongly with it, but he loves it. So can you touch on that?
Yes, yeah. For those that are listening, they don't know what maybe you mean by flushing, is that we're talking about a warm feeling where the skin changes color just a little bit, and it's a warm feeling, and it usually goes away about 20 or 30 minutes later. And what that means is that your capillaries near the skin have been closed off. So what you're really seeing is that you're getting blood flow to the skin level for the first time. So it's not a toxin flush, like flushing your liver or something. It's flush at the skin. So what happens is it has real niacin. It has the vitamin B3 as real niacin. Now, many formulas, in order so people don't feel this flush, will put in niacinamide, which means it's a non-flush form of vitamin B3. But the problem with that is that, again, you want to get the capillaries open near the skin. I started taking this super circulation, and with one capsule, I would have kind of a flush, and I wouldn't notice. But a couple minutes later, I would go walking into the office, and they said, "Did you get a lot of sun this weekend? Were you out sunbathing?" And I go, "No." And then I kind of fill up my ears, and I go, "Okay." So I did that, and then I got up to where I was taking 2 capsules a day, and I'd feel a flush because I was no longer feeling it with one. So the fact that you're not feeling it, your husband is, it just means that your capillaries are already wide open. I got up to where I was doing 8 super circulation a day.
Wow.
And again, each time I kept increasing, I'd start to feel the flush because I was getting more niacin in there. It was starting to kind of go through and help rotor out all the things out of the capillaries that had been closed down. I got up to 8, and after about 2 weeks at 8, it didn't matter how much I took, I wouldn't feel it anymore. I finally got to where you are, Joanne. It took me a long time.
So, Burt, you're saying I'm healthier than my husband, correct? Is that what your bottom line is? I'm just kidding.
I thought you were going to go there, yes. You know, it's interesting because whatever it is that closes off those capillaries, we need to get those kinds of good things in there. And like you mentioned, besides the niacin, it has red-rooted sage root, English hawthorn berry, ginkgo leaf, butcher's broom root, conidium seed, motherwort leaf, ginger root, horse chestnut seed, cinnamon bark, cat's claws bark. It has L-citrulline. Now, that's an amino acid that is a pro-arginine, meaning that your body will turn it into arginine as needed. The only natural source of L-citrulline is from watermelons. Okay, and we have a lot of it in there. It's got 100 milligrams in every capsule of L-citrulline. Then there's 50 milligrams of the L-arginine, which means that's available immediately. Your body doesn't have to convert it. There's bilberry leaf, white willow bark. Again, helps get the right consistency of the blood so it's not too thick. Cayenne fruit, so from cayenne pepper, and polycosanol is what was added, and the super circulation increased in the energy by double by putting in polycosanol, which comes from sugarcane, which is one of, if you read up on that, people listening to the show, they'll go, let me go find out what polycosanol is.
Yeah, and
Once
I
you
know
read about
years
it-
ago I used to be selling that, and it's very popular. It kind of waned off, but the research is there, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I have some people that have brought the super circulation in the store and started selling it just because of the polycosanol. I said, well, okay, that's good, but it's only like one of 19 ingredients.
I know.
And it's all set up. It's not just throw them all in there. They're all at the proper level. So we do the energy testing on all of these things, and the super circulation is now the number one selling circulation formula in the United States in all stores.
Well, congratulations. It's definitely worthy of that title. And I also noticed, Burt, like I'm very sensitive, even though I can drink my coffee in the morning, even though I am admitting that to you, it was very difficult to just say that. I get still that nervous energy, so I am like, I quit for a while. The holiday brought it back to me, so I'm way down in my amount. But if I take the super circulation, I definitely get that nice energy. Like I feel like my eyes can stay wide open and focused, and like my body has everything it needs. And I love that feeling versus that caffeine, like uncontrollable nervous tension jitter feeling, so even though I know you have an amazing energy product, which I definitely want to talk about next, that the super circulation really gives me that nice smooth feeling.
And I may be repeating myself. Maybe we've talked about this on a previous show together, but the reason that I got up to 8 capsules a day, and hardly anybody needs to do that, is a lot of times I hear all these great reports of how natural practitioners and doctors are using the product with their patients, and I'll listen and I go, well, that's interesting, but I don't actually try to experience it myself. So I thought, okay, there were some people, practitioners up in New York State, and they had, 50 years of experience. They were in their 70s. And what they did is they had people coming into the health food store that had neuropathy so bad that they said, my feet have been numb for 3 years. I can walk, I can function, all those things, but I can't feel my feet touching the ground when I walk. I mean, can you imagine how that would feel? It's kind of like, okay, I know I'm standing, but I can't feel the connection. So they would go ahead and look at the formula and go, oh my goodness, the balance between the different herbs in there doesn't seem to be any reason that you can't take a lot of it. So they would say, hey, why don't you go ahead and take 8 capsules a day? Some people do it immediately. Some would have to build up because of the niacin flush. But by doing that, they would, by the 11th day, they would come back in and say, I can feel my feet. I can feel my feet for the first time in 3 years. I can actually feel my feet. So when you talk about what these herbs, these natural plants will do if they're prepared right and put into the right formula. Anyway, I know we're going to move on to positive energy boosters, but I just wanted to mention that.
No, but this is excellent. So many people have numbness in their feet and not always diagnosed as a diabetic. So, just constantly, sometimes just our lifestyle choices create this. And so it's phenomenal that you have a product that can help them, because I'm glad you spoke about it again, because so many people are suffering with numbness of the feet, and sometimes it's overlooked or pushed to the side because they just don't want to deal with it. So I'm thrilled that we have the super circulation to sell them. And so, yeah, you definitely got to come into the store and take this. Again, even if you get that flush, like Matt loves it, no big deal. It will pass very quickly. And so, yeah, I look at it like more circulation. Yeah. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the energy formula, positive energy, like it's just, you definitely hit the nail on the head with this one too. So I definitely want to give you a good 15 minutes to talk about it. So how'd you come up with that formula?
Well, that one is probably the longest formula that's been around of any capsule. I mean, Cell Power was discovered 73 years ago, so it's been helping millions of people over 7 decades. The Super Silica was discovered 64 years ago, but the positive energy boosters came out 41 years ago. It comes in a capsule now, but for years it was in a tablet. But between capsules and tablets, it's now over 3 billion capsules have been sold. And it has become such a big deal for those who have discovered it. The positive energy boosters will actually help you stay mentally alert. In our family, about the only times we were using positive energy boosters is when we would have to do a really long, drive all night to get to some house, relative or vacation or whatever. You're driving all night long and you don't want to get sleepy and fall asleep at the wheel. So we would do that, help keep you alert, but it's not based on caffeine, which means for years, long-haul trucking companies, right, that all the semi-trucks that are on the freeways running all night because that's when there's less traffic,
right?
The trucking companies were buying the positive energy boosters in bulk and giving them to all the drivers, providing them free to the drivers because it would keep them alert so that they didn't fall asleep, run through the center divider, and kill somebody at night. And the reason is that the drivers get to the point where they know that they do not want to take a caffeine pill. They don't want to drink colas or drink coffee at night because if you do and then you get tired and you pull over to climb in the back of your cab to sleep, you're not going to be able to sleep.
Exactly.
Whereas with positive energy boosters, it keeps you alert and you're not going to fall asleep. Never. There's never been one reported case of person that's fallen asleep at the wheel. It keeps you mentally alert, but if you change your mind, even after you've just barely taken the product, you change your mind and you want to pull over to a hotel or sleep, whatever, you can put your head on the pillow and you go right to sleep. It does not block sleep. It raises and it also helps. It helps the body. How can I say this? It's so good for the adrenals. It supports the adrenals as.
That's so funny, Burt. I was
just
going to ask you about the adrenal connection.
Yeah. The things that are in it, I mean, again, some of these, most of what we have in terms of capsules are just a lot of different ingredients, and every single one of them is so important. So with the positive energy boosters, it has the real niacin, about 2/3 as much as what's in a super circulation. Occasionally a person will get a niacin flush, but not really. But it has 18 milligrams of niacin. It has the methylcobalamin, vitamin B12 in it, a lot. It has yerba mate leaf. Now, the yerba mate is really, really big in South America and Central America, but it is this amazing energizing thing that has a little bit of natural caffeine, but it has more theobromelain in it. And what happens is that caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. So that's why it's so dangerous to have coffee, tea, or colas, is that when you have caffeine in any form, a vasoconstrictor, what is that doing? It means it's squeezing down all your blood vessels so that less blood goes through. Okay, theobromelain is a vasodilator. So it's as it exists in this herb, it balances out and it doesn't constrict down your circulation. It has the Panax ginseng, yellow dock, echinacea, English hawthorn berry, fotai, licorice root, ginger root, mullein leaf. Now if you're going to research something and go on the internet, look up mullein leaf, mullein. Oh my goodness, what this does as far as antiviral properties of a plant. I mean, I have people that have been taking the positive energy boosters just because they wanted to support their body in case they were exposed to a virus.
And it's hard to get mullein right now.
It is so hard. When we go to make it, some people say, look, I don't think we're able to get it. You're just going to have to make the positive energy boosters without it. I go, we can't change the formula, I'm sorry. So it takes sometimes 7 months of searching the planet in order to bring in the mullein to make this. Spirulina, it has the Siberian ginseng, which is now, they make you call it Eleuthero root, but papaya fruit, it has the pepsin, the same thing that makes up our entire digestive energy pepsin capsule. It is in this formula, so that what it does is it helps the body digest all of the herbs that are in the capsule. It comes with its own thing to make sure that it's going to break down and help you. It's got bee pollen, and it has the cayenne fruit. So the Positive Energy Boosters, having sold over 3 billion capsules, it's just something you have to really try. And if you're expecting that you're going to take it and it's going to amp you all up like a fake energy drink in a can or something like that, that's not what happens at all.
Right. And so, Burt, could you explain to our listeners how, like with a lot of those energy brands, they started with like a 2-ounce serving, and that helped people, and then all of a sudden now they're like 16-ounce, 20-ounce servings, and a lot of young people, 10, 11-year-olds are using these. What the conflict is and why to go with something natural like yours, why, how it's different, because a lot of those energy drinks are marketing themselves so well. Just like there's so many stories out there right now, especially on social media, where they're spinning a story that it's natural because they throw a B vitamin in there, or and what they put maybe some fruit pictures on the nice big huge toxic bottles. So could you kind of talk about that a little, because it is a huge problem, especially in my area.
Sure, why not? I'll put a target on my back here.
Well, we're not naming any brands. We're just, generalizing.
Well, with the original formula that they came up with, because we're talking about these different brands. There's the Bull type drinks. There's the Monster type drinks. There's all these.
Okay,
types
well
of drinks,
now the target's on you. Okay.
Yeah, but with the original so-called energy drink, it was developed by a pharmaceutical company, so people should know that. So if you're saying, oh, it's natural and has pictures of fruit and everything, you should know what it does. They discovered this strange thing out in Singapore or something, and that's where it was developed. So here's what it does, is that they're selling you, and making billions of dollars, they're selling you something where they say it's providing energy to you, but it's not. What it's doing is it's taking the most important energy that exists in your body, and it's moving it from the brain down into the rest of the body, and just one drop of this brain fluid, that it causes your body to release the brain fluid, which is not supposed to be released because eventually you don't have anything left in your brain, but a drop at a time, and each one of it has such an energy burst to your body that you feel like, this has energy. But what they did is it's putting the amino acid L-taurine along with sucrose and along with caffeine, and when you combine those three, what it does is it causes, drip, drip, drip. Every time you release this drop of brain fluid, it gives you this energy, but they're not providing the energy. So it would be like somebody saying, oh, you just won $1 million in this contest, and they start sending you a monthly check, right? And then you find out that the monthly check is actually be coming out of your own savings account.
Oh, yeah, that would be a little disappointing. I'd be upset.
How would you feel?
If I had any brain power left, I would really get angry.
Well, that's it. And so right now, at least where we're at, high school students for like the past 10 years will not have any breakfast. They just go to school, early to high school, and even now it's gotten into middle school, and I hope it hasn't gotten into elementary school yet. But they don't have any breakfast, but they'll go and they'll buy one of those energy drink things, and, it's just become kind of aren't I cool, and drink it. And it's now been going on long enough, since it's last more than 10 years, that we're starting to find out that Alzheimer's is happening with 20-year-olds and 25-year-olds.
Well, that is
because
horrible.
Why? Because it's pulling the drops of the brain energy out of the brain until finally it can't function and they can't remember anything. So we're talking about this unbelievable epidemic. I mean, it's sad enough when Alzheimer's hits somebody who's 80 or 70 or 60 or 50, but to have it in young college students, and most of them don't go to college because they can't think anymore. But it's just a really, really sad thing that it's even allowed to happen. I mean, it looks like it's just simple ingredients. But again, you can take simple ingredients and combine them for something really, really good or for something that is really devastating.
Yep. I saw my son drink one, and it broke my heart. I was like, oh, no, don't even think about it.
Well, I guess you've already heard that it's, I mean, this is not me just bringing it up. The news of how many people, how many teenagers have died from drinking those?
Actually, I don't. I know that they have, but I didn't know. I don't watch the news, Burt, so at all.
Dozens and dozens of deaths. Now, you got to realize that if there was even one single death from supplements, everybody keeps saying, well, I don't know, dietary supplements are kind of risky. They're kind of dangerous. I said, dietary supplements are the safest product on planet Earth. The safest product on planet Earth, because if you had one person in a Volkswagen that got in an auto accident and died, and all of a sudden they recalled all Volkswagens in the world, banned them, and didn't let anybody buy them, can you imagine?
Right.
There would be no cars. Instead, it happens with dietary supplements. So how certain products can have dozens of deaths and still be on the market, it just means that it's not really part of the supplement industry, because we are the most highly regulated, safest products that it could possibly be.
Well, that's a really good point, and I didn't know that, and now I'm even more upset about that. And it is in our elementary school system, at least here it is. And I just don't understand how any parent could give that to a child. It's heartbreaking.
It will also, if you start young enough, it'll stunt the growth. I mean, seriously stunt the growth. We're talking about 12 inches shorter than they would have ended up. It's just like you don't, even if you're a big fan of coffee at your house or whatever, you don't give coffee to children, because what happens is that it pulls the energy out of the body that's needed for cellular mitosis, which means cells dividing. So that means that the bones that are supposed to grow longer, sometime between childhood and puberty, so that you actually have the normal length of arms and legs, it's not going to happen. So, almost every family will say, oh, no, you're too young to drink coffee, because they have seen, through history, that anything that saps the energy does that. Well, it's the same thing with the so-called energy drinks. It saps the energy so that you can't even form long bones, you can't create enough cells, and you can't grow to your full size.
Yeah, that seems like super important. So hopefully all our listeners can spread the word to any of their friends and loved ones and coworkers about this really important subject. And your product, so if they are saying to themselves, oh no, I do have a loved one, a younger loved one that is using those products and I want them to go something natural, can that capsule be broken up and put into like a smoothie or a protein shake?
Yes.
Okay, because that would help, because I know a lot of kids that, even like 15, 16-year-olds that do not swallow pills yet, so.
Right.
Yep, and I love that you sell it in those little packs, so it's economical, it's great to start there. So I have both sizes, so that makes it a lot easier, too.
Yeah, and you just don't need that many capsules. A lot of people keep saying, well, why don't you just put it in a bottle like all of your other capsules? No, it always comes in a blister pack where you have to actually be thinking about punching it out to get it out, and rather than, if not, you're talking to somebody, you're on the phone, and you just dump a bunch into your hand and take 5 or 6 at a time. You don't really need to do that. It's got a lot of energy and a lot of power in every single capsule.
You are so right. I would totally do that. It's like, oh, wait, did I take it? Was that the pill that I took? Oh, let me just do another one. Yeah, that would be me. Oh, my God, that's a great point. Okay.
And it's easy to count it. I have one in my hand right now, and it has the 4 capsules, like you can buy the little trial pack before you go ahead and buy the bigger pack that has 60 capsules, but it's always in a blister. But I have one right in my hand, and it's got 3 empty punch-outs and 1 capsule, which I'm going to take in a few minutes. I found that I've been taking positive energy boosters. Like I say, we used to only do it when we were driving long distances, because that's the only safe way to drive all night on the freeway. But what happens is that during this time of colds and flus and viruses and all these things going on, I started taking one in the morning, and now I'm up to 2 positive energy boosters a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Never done this before. It is the most amazing thing. It's not just a higher level of energy, but it just kind of makes everything else in the body just feel like it's at its peak performance.
I love that.
You know,
and that's what we want, right? The clarity of mind, the recall, just to focus better. And that's why sometimes people mistake energy for that. Like, it's just we want to function well and not be hyper nervous, irritable, cranky humans.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because adrenaline is one of the things that's released by the adrenal glands. But yeah, when you have a lot of adrenaline, you seem like you're, focused and wide awake and everything. But really, it's just the fight or flight thing. So when people have caffeine and they go, "Oh, it makes me feel so much better," I said, "Yeah, like you're running away from a pit bull or something that's chasing you." Yeah.
And
you
do
got
that every day.
real
You're
feel.
going to wreck your body. Yep. Burt, it's that couple minute mark, and as always, thank you so much. I hope that everyone took notes. And again, Burt offers my store so many great literature pieces. So if you want to learn more about cell power, super silica, the positive energy, the super circulation, anything, his eye energy, oh my gosh, that's another phenomenal product. We have lots of literature. He has this huge red box on his packaging with their 1-800 number. They're a wealth of information. Burt, thank you so much.
Oh, great to talk to you, Joanne.
All right, we'll have you back on soon. Thank you. Have a great one. All right, everyone. So don't forget to check out our Wellness Center online at joannesnutritionworld.com. We have infrared sauna, PEMF, massage, iron foot detox, and of course our Dr. Chris that comes monthly. So check us out, and thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Joanne's World of Nutrition has archives on YouTube. You can binge watch these shows. Go to WPSLTV.com. That's our YouTube presence. Look for all the playlists of Joanne's World of Nutrition shows and have yourself a good time binge watching. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie. On Google Home, Alexa, and the TuneIn app on your smartphone, it's 11 o'clock.